There's a saying that if you love what you do and you're passionate about your job, you'll never work a day in your life. And it's a lovely idea, isn't it? It conjures up images of those of us who are passionate about our jobs, leaping out of bed first thing in the morning, full of enthusiasm, facing every challenge the day brings with a smile on our face and nary a care in the world, and then laying our heads down on the pillow at the end of the day, fulfilled and happy and drifting off to a peaceful sleep. Of course, reality is a little different. The truth is, no matter what job you do, and particularly something in the creative industries, you are going to have to work very hard and you are going to face challenges. Passion and loving what you do isn't some magic wand that makes that hard work and those challenges disappear. But having that passion is vital to your long-term success. What passion does for you is it motivates you to find a way through those challenges. It's there as a kind of fuel, if you like. It's there in the background when you find yourself questioning, should I be doing this? Is this too difficult? If you're passionate about what you do and you love what you do, you'll find that question very easy to answer. From my own experience, I can think of two really standout examples where having passion for what I do and loving my job was absolutely crucial to my success and essentially keeping going in my job. The first of these, quite predictably, was pretty much straight after leaving college. I left Blackpool and I started working as a freelance assistant down in London. I had some contacts to begin with. I had one person who I was already kind of lined up to assist, but only as a freelancer, so there was no guarantee of work whatsoever. Everybody else I ended up working for, I kind of had to find work with them. Now, usually that came about through word of mouth. So I'm in London. Obviously, it's an expensive place to live. I am sharing a flat with friends of mine from college, so there's a little bit of a support network there. But every single day, I'm faced with trying to find more work as an assistant. And day after day, if that work isn't coming in, it's quite daunting. Something that often doesn't get mentioned, particularly about creative industries, is that not having much work is every bit as challenging as having lots of work on your plate. In fact, I would argue it's more challenging because it's so demotivating when you haven't got work on, and having to conjure up from inside you the strength to go and make the calls and make contact and try and find work. And in those first 6 months, I had to do that a lot. I had to try and find photographers I could assist, work really hard when I did work for them, and yet at the back of it, I never questioned that I was doing the right thing, because I was so passionate about what I wanted to do that even though I did have some long dark nights of the soul, I never quit. I stuck at it because I was passionate about it and couldn't really see myself doing anything else. And the second example where passion is so important is quite literally the other end of the scale. I could pick almost any stretch between, say, about 2005 and 2015 where I was working like an absolute demon. Now, in many ways, I was living the dream. I was working for several different national magazines. I was photographing all sorts of exciting and interesting things. I was getting my work published all the time. I was traveling all over the place. But the hours, the mileage, the work rate was horrendous. And I genuinely look back at it now at the ripe old age of 45 and know that I couldn't work like that anymore, certainly not for extended periods. I can think of stretches like the end of 2013, where in 12 days I was in the suburbs of London, a London studio, the Midlands, another London studio, Hampshire, then 5 days in Turkey, then back to central London. Or early 2015, where in the space of 15 days I was in Oxford, then London, then Pinewood Studios, then Brighton, then 6 different spots around London in as many days, then an overnight in Malta for a 2-day shoot, a London studio, and finally a London park. Now that's all very rock and roll, and like I say, in many ways it was close to living the dream. But if you think about how full my diary would have been, and then think about how much time was being taken up with travelling, and how much time it was costing me to process, edit, and deliver these jobs, not to mention simple things like, backing stuff up, recharging my batteries, sorting my kit out, and basically feeding myself and sleeping, there's no room in my life for pretty much anything else. And that's not sustainable. I came close several times in that sort of really busy decade to physical and mental and emotional burnout. And yet again, just like when I first left college, passion for what I did and a love for my job meant that I never questioned I was doing the right thing. It got me through those difficult bits. There was never a point, even in some of the darkest moments, my most exhausted stages, when I thought to myself, right, I'm giving up. I'm going to go and get a normal job, in inverted commas. It was just what I did, and there was never any question of it. And that's where passion comes in. And that's really the key. If you go into something passionate about it and expect it to be easy, you are going to get an unpleasant shock the first time you hit a challenge and expect that challenge just to evaporate. The challenge won't go away. Passion will provide you with the fuel and the motivation to get through it. So as long as you go into something with your eyes open, you stand a much better chance of succeeding and getting out the other end. Just don't expect never to have to work.